Real life.
Superpowers.
There is a phrase, no matter if the situation is good or bad, it's gonna change. And and people, when things are bad and terrible like we experience now in Israel, probably it's gonna change, and it's gonna change for good and for a long time. And I really believe in it.
Hey all, welcome to a new episode of the Real Life Superpowers podcast. I'm Noah Eshid, here with my co-host Ronen Manipaz. It's days of war here in Israel, and sitting down to record this doesn't feel natural. But we believe that literally the show must go on. Any other way would mean letting terror win, and that isn't an option. So today, we're pleased to have Andy Ram as our guest. Andy made history by becoming the first Israeli tennis player to win a senior Grand Slam event. He achieved this feat at Wimbledon in 2006. His winning streak includes the French Open mixed doubles title and the men's doubles title at the Australian Open. He achieved the world number 5 doubles ranking in July 2008. Throughout his career, he represented Israel at multiple Summer Olympics and competed in 36 doubles finals, triumphing in 20 of them, often partnering with Jonathan Erlich, together known in Israel as AndiYoni. Andy's success on the court is just the beginning of his incredible story. As a former IDF soldier, Andy used his platform as a tennis player to raise awareness and support for the IDF soldiers and their families. He's also dedicated himself to promoting peace and coexistence between Israelis and Palestinians through tennis. Exactly the person to speak with these days. Let's welcome him to the show.
Real life.
Superpowers.
Up in the sky, it's a bird. It's a plane.
Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology.
It's alive!
Real life.
Superpowers.
Andy, welcome.
Thanks.
It has to be the most surreal opening we ever had, seeing as we just had a siren and we had to go to a safe room. And this is a really surreal situation to be in, but it's also so representative of our lives right now. So how are you these days?
This is crazy. It's a crazy world, crazy countries that we live in. This is our reality. It's again happening again. We've been through many wars since I'm a little kid. I remember running to the shelter since '91 that we had this war. I was 11 years old, and until these days, my kids are running now to the shelter. So this is the reality we're living in. Complicated neighbors, and I guess we should stay strong. The atmosphere is terrible. It's bad. I know everybody knew somebody that knew somebody. I personally had people that worked for me that died in these terror attacks, and so going from funeral to funeral, from shiva to shiva, to people that lost their houses, going playing with kids and going to speak motivated speech talks to soldiers. So every day I'm trying to keep myself busy. It's like war days, that. It's not fun and easy to be in Israel these days. But we're optimistic. We should be, and this is my character, and I believe that we're gonna get stronger. We're gonna get out of it stronger and better, and I think with lots of hope for a good future in Israel for many, many, many years to come. And yes, this is the situation, but we have to keep going, and. And like you said, I think when we talked or text, we can't let the terror win, and we have to keep going on with our lives. And even though it's tough, we have to be tougher,
Andy, I have to tell the truth in this podcast. First of all, I'm a very good friend of Andy's, and I had also the privilege play tennis with him. Or survive a little bit of tennis in front of him. And like one of the amazing things is also like how he speaks is he always has that smile, okay, and he always has that energy, and he's always picking up other people, and he's like he said a game, right? So like he has that mindset of everything is gamified. And is it like it's I don't know, it's like like being like just to understand the audience being number one in the world. That here this is where I'm going to bridge it from the war to grow up in a place where you're going to shelters, okay, and you have to do the army, and have the resilience of being it's not like you can only do sports and you're only an athlete. So like growing up as an athlete, okay, and again being number one in the world against all odds, and going through shelters, bombings, army, and all of that, like how did you believe you can be there? Because there's people who are like from 6 years old in academies, they have total quiet, they have the perfect gyms, they don't have to do the army, they don't have all the the noise that we have. How'd you do it?
I think it's interesting because I always say in the top 100, there are in the tennis, in top 100 players, the best tennis players in the world, there are 100 different stories on how they achieved being top 100 or how did they get there. They're coming from different backgrounds, different countries, different way of training, and they still got to top 100. So I think my story is that I wasn't a super talent. I'm coming, from not rich family, kind of poor. When we came to Israel, I was born in Uruguay. When I was 5 to Jerusalem, we didn't have much money. And my father, which was a soccer player, didn't want me to play soccer. He wanted, really, I'm serious, he wanted a net to separate between me and my opponent because he didn't want anybody to touch me. And so I won't get injured. And this is how I got to play tennis, slowly. I wasn't as super talented like, the top players that you see, Federer or some other guys that great hands and footwork. I was a bit small, chubby, like a bit fat, a little boy. I wasn't fast enough. I wasn't tall. Didn't have big serve, but I had something that always pushed me. It was my hunger to succeed. I had like an inside hunger, that hunger from food, right? Like kind of like that. I always wanted to do well in sports. I always wanted to play in sports. I always wanted to do either soccer or basketball or tennis when I was in tennis, because I wanted to compete. For me, sports was a way to get much more popular in society. When you're a good sportsman in school, everybody likes you. Everybody want to be friends of yours. Everybody want to play. When you're good in soccer, so everybody want to be around you. When you're a good athlete in sports, in school, grade 1, 2, 3, Aleph, Bet. So everybody wants to be around you. And this is how I wanted to be like a good sportsman. I remember myself coming to Israel until today. Kids were laughing at me about my accent. They used to call me like, Andy, what's your name? Can you tell us your name? Andy Ram. Can you have Arti, with this funny R accent? And I still remember it because when I was good in sports, everybody wanted to be around me. And I had many friends because of that. And this is how I grew up to be a good tennis player, not because of my foreign backend, because of my attitude of competing and wanting to win and wanting to play. And I loved it so much. Like when you start winning a lot when you're young, and I was one of the best kids under my age when I was 10 years old. And then when I was 12, I was one of the best in Israel. And then when I was 13, end of 7th grade, which I was young, I was just thinking of it now, I decided that I'm going to leave home. And I took my parents and I told them, listen, I want to focus on tennis. I want to put everything that I have in tennis. I want to be professional. And it's not enough what I did in Jerusalem in this, I don't know how you say, chug, like, when you go like for an hour or hour and a half. Yeah, so I said it's not enough for me, this after school training. I want to take it seriously. And then was a time when I moved to a sports institute. And this movement from Jerusalem to the Sports Institute at Wingate was very crucial for me because remembering myself at 13, I knew exactly that if I want to be a professional, it's not enough to practice hour and a half in Jerusalem. I have to practice much more. And for me, it was the switch between an amateur to a professional, from 1 hour practices every day to 7-8 hours practicing every day. And that's where I started, like at Wingate when I was 14, 13 and a half, practicing every day, mornings, afternoon. Took it like a profession when I was young, when I was dedicated for that.
But how did you know in grade 6 and 7 that you were good at it? Like at 13, if you were already first in Israel, okay, I'm understanding that. But when you were 6 years old, when you were in grade 6, what gave you the confidence to do that?
So when I'm 6, so I grew up to be one of the best in my group, and always, like I said, I was something special with my attitude, not with my foreign back, which, by the way, attitude is very important. Like when you take a sportsman, there are different kind of talents. When I look on sportsmen, like a little kid, you can have the physical talent, you have the technical talent, you have the tactical talent, and you have the mental talent. Like each one of them, it's a different talent, which is good. You know, some players have like amazing forehand, backhand, which they can do everything with the ball. This is a technical talent, but they don't have the mental talent, the toughness. Like you fight every point, you're gonna fight and you're gonna compete, and you're not gonna give up on one ball, which is a different talent. And I think this is a talent that not too many people look and pay attention on it when you're young, on this mental strength, and you don't give up and you keep on trying and you love it and you do it, and every day you come in and you go in day out, you don't give up practices. And this is something that I had as a little kid, that you could see like right from the beginning. If you talk to the coaches that coached me when I was 6 years old, and then later when I was 9, 10 years old, and then when I was 30, they will all tell you the same, that I was always like angry to compete and to play, and I came to the practices with passion, and I had this passion for the sports, and I think this is something very important as a kid, a professional kid, somebody that want to do it well. If you ask all those kids that did well in life, I think they had this passion, this something inside that they came to practices with lots of joy, I would say, or they didn't miss practices. I never missed practice. I was going to all practices, no matter what happened. I was going there, and yeah, I really loved it. I really loved what I did when I was young. Obviously, that helped me to win when I was 8 years old, 10 years old in this national competitions, tournaments. I was one of the best players, and it fills you with confidence. And you build the confidence slowly by winning matches, finishing the year number 1 or 2 in your country. Then when you feel like you are one of the best in Israel, you take it more seriously and start playing tournaments around the world. And also over there, I did well. Since I was 14, 15, 16, I was one of the best in Europe, in the world, and growing up with the best players that later become champions in singles, Federer, Safin, Ferrero, Gonzalez, so many great players. So you realize slowly that you have the talent. Like I said, it doesn't have to be like foreign backhand talent, different talents. And yeah, I decided to develop it seriously. I think one of the things that I didn't mention, which was for sure a key for my success, was my parents. When I was young, they always pushed me. They always believed in me. They weren't cynical, like something that I see parents these days when I see them talking to their kids, and I hate it because I hate it. They've been like cynical to their kids. And when you're cynical to a kid, we can be cynical to each other and we'll understand each other because we're adults. But kids, they don't get cynical with phrases or things. When you see a kid and you tell the son, "Oh yeah, you're right. You shoot like LeBron James. Yeah, right." When the son barely gets to the basket, this is like something that we understand, the adults. Oh, great kick. Like, oh, this is exactly like Messi. Perfect. When you kind of go down on your son, or like you being cynical with those kind of phrases, you don't feel it because as an adult, it's normal for it. But the kids, they don't understand it. So as a kid, I always grew up with this attitude that my parents believed I'm a champion. My parents always gave me this feeling that I'm the best player in the world, that I can be the best player in the world. This is something that I grew up in my house, and it was it was something that I always remember. My mother, my father always supporting me, no matter if I win or lose. They're always behind me, always behind, and pushing me and reminding me that I'm on the right path. And I think this is something very important when you have the support from the parents and people that believe in you. I was lucky to have great coaches. I think since I was 6 years old, when I retired from tennis, 7, 8 years ago, I did a movie of my retirement. I took like my last year and I did a movie. And I invited people, like, instead of crying in front of the microphone and TVs and this, oh yes, I stopped after 20 years. I did a movie. I invited all my friends, family, and everybody, and I didn't tell them what the movie was about. Obviously, it was a retirement movie. But I'm telling you this because the first people I invited to the movie were my coaches. Since the first coach I had in my life, I didn't forget any coach, fitness coach or tennis coach. I invited them all. You know, they were shocked that I remember he coached me when I was 6 years old. Until 9 years, suddenly get a phone call from me. So I invited them all and I thanked them all because I was really lucky with coaches. The coach is a critical thing when you are a kid, especially, to have a good coach that believes in you. It comes to the practices, he doesn't earn a lot of money, he doesn't get the fame, he doesn't get anything. He needs to come with passion and he needs to come with this desired dream to make a player, to make him be a professional as much as the player wants to be. And it's not easy to find those kind of coaches these days. It's very tough to find like a guy that is really dedicated and is willing to give up some of his things in life, family and friends, just to make a player, a professional player. So I really thanked all the coaches. So I'm talking here like about coach, and I'm talking father, parent, mother, and talking about myself. What I trying to say here, to be a professional athlete, to be a top professional athlete in soccer, in basketball, in tennis, I look at it in a way that it's a big puzzle, right? And you need all pieces to be right, like a place to practice, the coaches, the parents, what you eat, how you sleep. You need the whole puzzle to be correct. The parents and the coach is huge. And for every top athlete, those important pieces are there. The coach, the family, the athlete himself. You have where you practice, that you need a good environment, because if you are in a competitive environment, it's going to be much easier for you to succeed. And unless you're like growing by yourself and you think you're the best in the world, nobody can touch you, and it's tougher like to get the motivation. When I grew up with lots of kids that were maybe better than me, some of them worse, and I always had to compete. Somebody is pushing in my neck, like trying, and the other one, I was looking up to him and I wanted to be like him. So there was always a good competition. And this is something important also, to grow up in the competition. And so, I have so many things like in the puzzle, like I'm talking about.
Let's talk about the puzzle though, because there's a piece in the puzzle. So your partner in doubles, okay? How did you, like, was he your first partner? Was it that, and you were just, persistent enough to succeed with him, or was it like, how'd that happen?
So this piece of a puzzle, Jonathan Erlich, so he did his thing in singles, I did my thing in single. We were both good single players, decent singles players, but we were very good doubles players. Both of us, we have what it takes to be good doubles player. Very aggressive, serve, volley, we have what it takes. I'll tell you the story between me and Yoni, and when you see him, you know Yoni, you ask him about it. And why it clicked so well. Yoni Erlich played with 20 different players in Israel, including everybody that you know: Noam Okon, Ariel Levin, Ofer Selanir, Velgren, Gilad Blue, Eyal Ran, Eyal Erlich. I will tell you all the names. Yoni Erlich played with all of them. What happened was with Yoni Erlich, Amir Haddad, Noam, everybody, when they played with him, they did okay. They did well. They all looked at Yoni as a choker. You know, choker, when somebody's choking in the money time, like when it's getting tougher and it's money time, he chokes. And everybody called him choker. Oh, Yoni is a choker. Yoni is a choker. Yoni's going to choke. He's going to be for all dudes. Yoni's going to choke. Yoni's going to miss the fall. Yoni's going to double fall. And this is how everybody in Israel tennis looked at Yoni. I was younger than I'm still younger than Yoni, 3 years younger. When I grew up, I look at Yoni as like an unbelievable player. I always wanted to play with Yoni. I always looked up to Yoni. I said to myself, I wish one day Yoni will play with me doubles. 2001, the day we arrived to this day that I decided, I was already a decent player, 21 years old. And then I asked Yoni if he wanted to play with me. There was a tournament in England before Wimbledon. And he said, he kind of did a favor to me. And he said, let's go, let's play. He couldn't find anybody. And he did a favor to me. And I looked at Yoni like, somebody that is in love with a woman, the first days, like, my eyes were like this. I remember myself hitting an ace. First match, I'm hitting an ace, and I go to Yoni and I congratulate him. Yoni, thank you very much. You stand right where I wanted you to stand. I was hitting great shots, and Yoni, thank you. I was unbelievable in love with him. And this relationship, that I looked at him different than other players. I looked only on the good things that Yoni had. I looked on his amazing returns, amazing seven volley, the way he ran, the way he helped in the net. I looked only on the good things. I didn't care about the forehand or whatever shots on when he get pressure. I didn't look at it. I looked only on the good thing. And I think that gave Yoni much more confidence, and he played much better with me than he played with the others. He felt like he's much bigger on the court. He's much confident. And I think this is the key of our success, the way we looked on each other, the way we gave compliments to each other. We really encourage each other in a good way, and we both felt it. And that was something that I think worked well during our career. This positiveness on the court, which affected him. Then later our opponents, when we both standing like this with smile, with lots of energy on the court, it affected our opponents, and they feel it. When you go and you stand like this on the court and you go down and say, oh, why I missed this? Oh, my terrible backhand. Oh, my terrible serve. Oh, I'm going to double fault. They feel it as well. So I think this is what our strength, like this power of us, like giving compliments to each other, looking on the good things, and it affected later on. So when you ask Yoni, ask him about it, I think he'll agree with me that I gave him much more confidence than other people, and it clicked well, I think.
We're excited to be collaborating with the Israeli website CTech, owned by Kalkalist, Israel's leading business newspaper. CTech is the gateway of the Israeli high-tech to the tech world and vice versa. If you're not already a regular reader, we strongly recommend that you check out kalkalistech.com, CALCALISTECH.com, to stay up to date on all high-impact stories from the Israeli tech scene. I think it's really something about how when we get the best out of people and then they shine. And I think that goes beyond sports into anything, any team play, any relationship. And I'm wondering how much that played a part in your life with respect to failure. I mean, you're playing some high stakes situations and you have to be so resilient. And at times, obviously, you didn't always just win. So what gave you the confidence to get back up? Because knowing how to get back up, and I'm also tying it down to these days in a sense and to resilience. And I'm really curious about your mindset in that respect of how to deal with adversity and failure and when things don't go as planned, and how much the ecosystem and the puzzle that you've touched plays a part in this.
It's a good question. Failure. There's a sentence I like to use. We don't fail as long as we're trying. So once we don't try anymore, this is a failure. When you stop trying, you say, that's it. I'm not trying, putting my hands up. This is a failure people, I think. Once you keep trying, you never fail. And this is something I'm taking through all my life. Talking about failing and failure, I mean, I'm going through tough situations in life. Since the day I arrived to Israel, I have so many tough moments I had. If it's the way, the aliyah that we're struggling here in Israel, like with the speaking and the language and like getting friends and everybody laughing. This is the beginning. Then later leaving home, my parents, and living by myself and struggling, a little kid by himself. And this is another struggle. Then later, I lost my father during my career, which was tough moments for me. I had 2 injuries, very tough injuries at the beginning of my career. When I stopped for 1 year, I didn't play tennis, a back surgery, knee surgery. I had so many moments through my career that I could stop or say, oh, it's enough. How many can I suffer? And for me, when I have tough situations, my tip, I would say, or whatever I do, I always lean on people. I never think that I can do it by myself. I never say, Andy, you are here by yourself. You came to the world and you are Wimbledon champion by yourself. Nobody helped. Thank you. No. So everything I do in life, I have people around me. This is something that I'm focusing a lot. Ronen knows me and knows that I have lots of friends behind. I always trying to keep myself and surround myself with positive friends, people that I can talk to, if it's a family member, if it's my wife, if it's a good friend of mine. And this is something that I focus a lot since I was a little kid, to surround myself with good people, with positive people, people that I can talk to. And in the tough moments that I have, also the good ones, yeah, I'm trying to lean on those people, to talk to them, to share my thoughts, to share my sadness or my happiness, or to share what I feel. And once I share and once I talk about it, I can get either good consulting or either like good energy from the other people. Even though I just taking it out of my system, taking it out of my body, it's already helping. So for me, talking a lot to people that I have confidence in helped me a lot through my life. And I'm talking since I was a little kid. I was a guy that I was coming, if at the beginning it was my mother that I used to come and talk to her, later my coaches, my friends. I always try to share my tough moments and then get the solution with them, with myself, finding the solution for this. But this is something that I still do.
What are the parameters? Or let's say, who do you not like? Who's not in that circle? You have an amazing circle. It's really, really, it's really true. But what is your KPI of saying no to someone?
So people that I took out of my life, or I'm not consulting with people with listen. In life there are people that they're energy givers and energy takers. The people that you call to, and they're, oh my god, they're like give you so much energy that you want to go and kill the world already. Do something. And there are people that once you call them and say, listen, I have a problem. Forget about it. You're not going to succeed anyway. Don't try, Andy. No, it's too much. And now there are so many people doing this and that. And those are the people that you call and they take your energy down. I'm trying to get them out of my life, kind of. I can stay with them. Hi, how are you? And that's it. I'm not going to call them when I have anything like serious to do.
Okay, you're saying this is easy. Okay, so like a few things. Sorry for personally annoying you. Okay, you're a very nice person. Okay, and second, you're very, very successful and famous. Meaning that the amount of people who want to suck the energy out of you, okay, and or want to be around you, okay, let's divide it to 50%. 50% are a lot, right? So how do you go by being a nice person and also taking them out of your life? Like it's against his nature. As a leveraged person, it's against his nature. He's a nice person.
Nice person, yes. And at the same time, that when I surround myself with people, I know like the people that I can really talk to and really consult with and really do something big with and really gonna push me to do bigger things than what I can or capable of thinking that I can do. So I can be nice to people. It doesn't mean I have to do things with them or consult with them or sit and talk to about my tough situations that I'm confronting in life. So I know how to divide those people. I'm being nice because this is my character. Again, my character, I think that helped me a lot in getting those tough times. I think it's my energy. It's my positiveness. I think one of the things that I like in myself is that in every situation I look on the good things. Everything in life, no matter what happened to me, no matter how bad the situation is, I always trying to take the good things out of the situation. Even when I got injured for 1 year, I didn't play. I always looked on what I can do now. How can I practice? How can I get stronger? How I'm gonna get much stronger when I come back. I always trying to look on the positive things. This is a way of training that I did through my life with my psychologist. I work with she wasn't a sports psychologist, by the way. She was a therapist, a couple therapist, which I worked with together with Yoni. So we have a couple therapist. She used to live in Denver and calling her every week, and she was traveling with us a lot. So with her, I was talking a lot about all the mental skills that I have. I think one of the mental skills that I built to myself, and I worked hard on that, was like how to think positive. And I think thinking positive is not like, I just think positive and that I will think positive. It's something that you need to work on it, and you have to like put it like on daily basis. When you look on a situation, to look on the good side of the situation. For example, even the way we talk, like instead of saying not much, say a lot. I don't have not much of whatever. So trying to play with the words even, and it's something that you have to work on. I don't have the example now in English so well, but every negative way of putting things, even if you think it's positive, try to put it in a positive way of saying it.
There's a good sentence of like taking every characteristic from positive to negative, meaning jealousy is a negative context, but competitiveness is the positive of jealousy, right? So it's putting on the pink glasses.
Yeah. For example, saying not too many. I didn't miss too many shots. Okay, let's say I didn't miss too many shots today, which is positive, right? I didn't miss too many shots. I wouldn't say that. I would say I put a lot of balls in the court today. So you understand what I'm trying to say? Like saying it in a positive way and not in a negative way.
There's the famous Thomas Edison example where he said, I just found 1,000 ways that making a light bulb go on doesn't work.
You understand, right, what I'm saying? Like, in a way, it's tough for me in English to say. But what I'm trying to say is that I'm practicing on it. I used to practice a lot on, like, my positiveness. And when I come to the court to stay positive, even so, sometimes I wanted to break the racket and I was nervous. And I put it in a positive way. I was jumping. I was doing on purpose, like, to stay strong, even though I was...
Did you ever break a racket?
You know what? When I was younger, I did. I was very angry when I was a kid, growing up.
No, but professionally.
And then professionally, I never broke a racket. One time in my life, I broke a racket by mistake, not because I was angry. It was the second point. I would never forget it in my life. Because this match, I still go to sleep with this match. It was in the quarterfinal of the Olympics, 2004 in Athens. Me and Yoni were playing a match for a medal. And if we win this match against Germany, we're winning a medal. It was amazing. We won the first set. We're losing the second one. So first of all, the second point of the match, I'm hitting a shot and I broke the strings, which never happened to me. I don't break strings during the match. Never happened to me, never. But I hit it bad on the frame and I break the string. So as a joke, just throwing the racket. Oh, it was the second point of the match. So I'm like throwing the racket, but not craziness, like throwing it, and I broke the racket. Now, when you break the racket, no matter if you laugh and you break it, the umpire has to give you a warning. And he gave me a warning. So I said, come on. He was a guy from Brazil. Carlos, come on. Why do you it's nothing. It's the second point. I'm not nervous. Just like, for fun, Andy, I have to give you. Okay. We continue with the match. We won the first set. We lost the second set, third set, 2-1 for them. 30-15. I'm serving. Yoni miss a ball on top of the net. The ball comes back to him and he's like swinging the racket to hit the ball outside of the court. Now, if he hits it, we get a point penalty. I remember it so slow, like he's putting it away, throwing the ball, saying, Yoni, no! And the ball is out, we got the point penalty. We lost the game 3-1, we lost the match, we lost the medal. So this is the only time I broke a racket.
You saw it in slow motion. Yoni, no! It's slow motion.
Andy's going to think about that game a lot today. Andy, I'm curious, what advice would you give people who are trying to tap into what their talent is, what they could be really good at? And when I say talent, I mean talent holistically. So people could be really good at stuff, but just not be passionate about it. And you've discussed how much passion is such an important part of the equation. And I'm wondering, how can people tap into that? And I'm also having a thought that it's fascinating that your father, in many senses, pushed you towards tennis, and that clicked. So he had some intuition, or maybe it's a chicken and egg situation, and somehow he implanted that passion in you, but he didn't want you to play soccer. I don't know if that's something that you had in mind and he pulled you away from, or if it's just something that he was leading the way and you like really harmoniously tapped into it. But How does it all come together? Like, what advice would you give people in that respect?
So yeah, my father, he wanted me to play tennis. I remember him once after school, I went to play soccer, and I didn't tell him, I didn't go to practice. I remember him watching me finishing the soccer, and he took me by the ear. I still remember, I still have pain here. Took me like this, he dragged me by the ear to the tennis practice. He knew I'm good at tennis. And when you're young, like I said, the big piece of the puzzle, when the parents are important, that was the time that I didn't know what's good for me when I was young. And my father knew I'm good at tennis. I can do well there. I was one of the best in Israel, maybe. So he dragged me and pushed me like to keep going on tennis. And I'm saying that because one of the things for people to do well, I think you guys know it from you work or for what you do. When you do something with passion, it means you're gonna keep doing it every day, and you're not gonna go to sleep, and you're gonna give up on many things, and you're willing to do everything to succeed when you have this passion. And one of the keys of doing well in life is persistence. Atmada, I would say like consistency. So it's like it's not working hard. Working hard, many people working hard, like for a day, two, for a week, for one, and then they stop because they had enough, and they keep going on the other things, and they work hard on the other. So lots of the people working hard in life. I think working hard it's one thing. I think what's it's more important is like doing it every day more and more and more and more, another day, another day. And this is when people do well, when they keep doing it, consistency, day after day after day, and they don't go to sleep, and they give up on things. And this is why you need this passion to do something that you like, or I don't know, something that you believe in, that can change the world, that will make influence on people, something that you have the passion to do, because then you can come every day and just focus on that. And I think this is something that I had since I was a little kid, something that I did well. And like my parents helped at the beginning. And later on, when I was growing up, it came from me. I knew that it's good for me. You know, the difference between tennis and soccer, basketball, is soccer and basketball. When you are in team, the coach said, you have a practice at 10 o'clock in the morning. What happens if you don't come at 10? You get suspended. You get fined or something by the coach. In tennis, we don't have it. The self-commitment that we need, the self-discipline, it's way here, you know, much shy. Because if I'm not gonna wake up at 10, nobody's gonna wake up. Because if I'm not gonna eat what I need to eat, nobody's gonna eat. If I'm not gonna sleep the time I need to sleep, so I do it because I need to do it. I know I'm gonna improve, and this is why I do it, because this is what's gonna make me better. I don't do it because somebody told me to do it. I don't do it because the coach told me and I'm afraid of somebody.
But isn't it a thing? Okay, I'll ask you this, because you're also an entrepreneur afterwards. So you take that state of mind that you had as an athlete also as an entrepreneur. Okay, but the thing is, isn't it a feature that because of you like also pleasing socially, okay, is that when you take responsibility of your coaches and everybody that invested in you, okay, your discipline is very high. And if you wouldn't have those people, maybe you wouldn't wake up because it may be not important for you, as opposed to, you know, how important for, like, one of my theories about you is also with the Yoni thing, is actually knowing how important it was also for Yoni made you even more self-disciplined.
You know what? Even if I ask you guys, and we ask hundreds of people, who was the guy that influenced you more in life? If it was a teacher, father, somebody, a businessman, each one of us has someone that influenced him, that told him something, that believed in him. That each one of us has someone that he can lean on and say, this guy helped me so much. Because of him, I learned so much. He's so influential. And I think each one of us has this person in life that helped us being who we are and be successful and be good at what we do. And I think we have to find this right person. We never know who's the right person. I think this right person is somebody that is positive. I think this guy is a guy that believed in us, and he gave us he showed us a different way that some other people didn't show us. I don't know. We had confidence in this guy, and
especially he had a few minutes also to look at us. That's what people are missing, you know.
Yes.
To like just have 2 minutes.
You talked about entrepreneur. You're talking about entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. As a tennis player, I started, imagine that, when entrepreneur, I was an entrepreneur as well. And and I had my startup and everything. I'm related to this world. But think about it. When I'm 5 years old, I have this dream of being a Wimbledon champion and practicing every day. When I remember him going to with my father when I was 14, 15, 16 to sponsors, and my father told him, "Listen, Andy is one of the best. He's gonna win Wimbledon." Nobody believed. Everybody laughed at us. So he showed them the exit, and he told them, "Listen, one day he's gonna be here, and we need the money to travel. He doesn't have the money to travel. He doesn't have the. We need." Nobody was believing it. When we won Wimbledon, was in 2003 when I made the semifinal, final Wimbledon. Suddenly, sponsors and everybody wanted to be part. The beginning was very tough. I heard many. This is like a startup, yeah. When you go and raise the money at the beginning, nobody wanted. So this is one thing. The other thing is when people don't believe in you. You know, you come as an entrepreneur, new entrepreneur. You're coming with a crazy idea. I'm gonna win Wimbledon. I'm gonna change the world. And everybody's laughing at you. How are you going to do it? And there are so many people that giving you advices. No, if you do this, change this, change that. I had so many people didn't believe in me in my career. You know, when I was 20, almost 20, the federation, they came to our coach Ronen and they told him, "Listen, Ronen, because there were so many players ranked between 150 to 500. So they said, listen, we can focus Ronen on 3 players only. You're gonna coach Nir Belgreen, Eyal Erlich, Noam Ber, and Noam Mukun, sorry. These 4 players. And you cannot coach Andy and Yoni because we don't have the budget for them. We don't believe they can do well." So they didn't believe in us, you know, the federation, the Ronen Morali, this coach that everybody has someone. So this is our someone, Ronen Morali. He believed in us and he coached me since I was a little kid and he always believed in me. And he told the federation, "Listen, I'm going to coach them for free. I'm not going to give up on Andy and Yoni. I'm going to coach them for free, and I believe in them." And the federation said, "Listen, we're not going to afford it. We're not going to pay for them. We don't believe in them. So you do whatever you want. We're going to focus only on those 4 players that we told you." And he coached us. 2 months later, I suddenly start winning matches. 4 months later, I was already invited for Davis Cup. And 6 months later, I was one of the top players in Israel. Not talking about 2 years later, that Yoni and me were one of the best players in the world's doubles team. And just thinking of maybe if Ronen would listen to the federation of not believing in us and don't want to support us. So as an entrepreneur, you're going to hear a lot of no's and people that don't believe in you. And still, if you have somebody believing, if you believe in your dream, your chances to be successful are very high. And you have to ignore the noises that you hear, a lot of them, and lean like again on people that you trust, people that want for you good. And this is also something that's very similar because I heard a lot of when I started my style, "Oh, it's not gonna work, it's not gonna be this," and you keep going with what you believe in. So it's very similar.
You're saying also the belief and also consistency. Like if you're consistent with your belief, it'll work.
Definitely. You can't jump from things with subject to subject. No. You have to focus, to be consistent, and things will click at the end. I think I like to use it more when the situation is bad, but there is a phrase, no matter if the situation is good or bad, it's going to change. And and people, when, things are bad and terrible, like we experience now in Israel, probably it's going to change. And it's going to change for good and for a long time. And I really believe in it.
My grandma is actually a Holocaust survivor, and she's always saying it. So that's something that's always stuck with me from a young age. So what would you say your superpower is?
The superpower. I think my energy, my happiness. I think to connect to people, to relate. One of the things that I like most. I think this is my whole life, my whole day is like getting in touch with people, talk to people, meet new people, and I love it. I think one of the powers that I have, and I think top athlete, or we talked a little bit about it, when you ask you what's your favorite animal is, so people say dolphin, horse, like power and this and that. I think one of the animals that מאפיינות, how do you say?
Characterize.
Yeah, most of the top athletes and successful people is the woodpecker. And now you ask me why the woodpecker. Woody the woodpecker go on the wood and going for hours like this. And they do hours on the tree until they make the hole and they find the food and they survive, right? They don't do two on this tree. Oh, it didn't help. Let's go on the other tree. Let's go on the other tree. Let's go. No, because they're gonna die, right? And survive. Even if you do on your hand now like this, only with the finger like this, you're gonna do 5 times. You're not gonna feel anything. If you're gonna do like this for 2 minutes, you're gonna feel a little. But if you're gonna do like this for an hour, 2 hours, you're gonna feel pain here. So this is something that I think the top athlete, top businessmen, top people, they are very like the woodpecker, they don't stop. They keep going until they make the hole and they get the food.
I love it. The woodpecker. I love it. I also have to add another superpower to you. You also are great at empowering people. Your empowerment skills, making other people, better around you. I've seen you do it like a lot, and it's a really great feature. What would you say is your kryptonite, though? Your weakness?
Oh my God, my kids! I think my kids are my kryptonite. It's definitely. I lost so much time with them. I wasn't here for the first one when he got born. I was in the middle of a tournament in Monte Carlo, so I wasn't there his birth. The second one, my daughter, I came for a day and I flew for tournament for 2 months. So I wasn't there for the first 2 ones, and all the gun and the kindergarten and the holidays. I missed a lot of that. I was traveling 9 months. So I had this, like we said, always they have the Jewish guilt. People around the world have this. So I had the father guilt. I missed something and they will remember. So I'm trying now to really be for them and go and do everything for them. So I think this is my kryptonite, my kids. And other than that, I think I'll have to think about my kryptonite and I'll get back to you because I'm trying to be happy. I'm trying to stay happy, positive.
I'm just looking for a way to break you. That's it.
I always say that you have to look on the... I will try to say it in English slowly. I always say that you have to look on the half glass full, right? And for those who it's tough for them to look on it, I suggest to transfer the water to a smaller glass. You understand?
My advice to those people who can't see the half glass full is transfer it to a smaller glass.
Exactly.
Beautiful. And by the way, I think it's such great advice for people these days in Israel because the glass is pretty overwhelming. So that's a really nice way to put it. So thank you for that. And in general, thank you for this conversation because it's really beautiful to hear your energy and to sense it. And I just really think that you're a very empowering person by nature, and it's beautiful to learn from you. So thank you for this.
Thank you, guys. Thanks. Ronen, I love you.
Follow also Andy and his Instagram. It's always fun, and you always see the really great things. So his Instagram is Andy Ram, and thank you so much, man. Thank you all the time for everything.
Thanks. Love you guys. Bye.
That's all for today's episode. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider subscribing to our podcast so you never miss an episode. Also, if you have a moment, we would really appreciate it if you could rate and review our podcast on the platform you're listening to. This will help others find our show. And as always, if you know anyone who you think would enjoy our podcast, please share it with them. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back as usual on the 1st of the month.
Real life.
Superpowers.
Up in the sky, it's a bird. It's a plane.
Gentlemen, we can rebuild him. We have the technology.
It's alive.
Real life.
Superpowers.